Cure Tinnitus shows and interviews are a member benefit for members of the tinnitus healing and coaching community at curetinnitus.org, where we learn how to heal ourselves from tinnitus from people who've already done it successfully. Our disclaimer is simply that our viewers and members take 100% responsibility for their own health and actions. It's a good choice, it's healthy, and it's required for participation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. We hope you enjoy the path of liberation from tinnitus. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Cure Tinnitus Show, episode number 12. My name is Dinas Mikkel, and I am the founder and coordinator of curetinnitus.org. And we have Julian Cowan-Hill, registered cranial sacral therapist, and our lead expert on the line. Hello, Julian.
Hello, hi, good to be here.
We have a bunch of questions. If anybody's joining us and still wants some background on either Julian or myself, or me, I just asked you to search on that at curetinnitus.org because we have some really, really interesting questions. And I want to move into those. And the structure of the show is pretty much the way that we've been doing it. We'll cover member questions. If we have a chance, then Julian and I will do a one-on-one, either focusing session or an exercise that is a direct talking about tinnitus and reducing tinnitus, a technique moving us from tinnitus into liberation towards well-being. And then if we have any live questions that we want to cover, we'll cover those, though at least for now, members have chosen more often than not to participate in recordings. So, Julian, are you ready for the first question?
I am. Let's go.
It's interesting because I think that you'll see that the questions kind of have a very. It's interesting that they come from different sources and almost have a theme. Okay, here's the first one. Julian always talks about settling and focusing, and in general, relaxing so that tinnitus can abate. What does one do if they're constantly being stressed out by life events? Perhaps some of us don't cope well with life stress. We all have stressors, but for example, what if you're someone who frets and worries all the time and things keep happening, such as job loss, depression, worry about family issues that keep cropping up, wishing for things to be more normal, but finding out that either your grown kids or grandkids continue to have problems as they move through life, or your husband who's self-employed doesn't have enough business and your finances are in trouble. What then? How should a person be able to cope with all of the above and still relax enough for the tinnitus to let go? How does one do this? How does one stop worrying? When things keep... Do you want to stop that one there? Because
yeah, I'd quite like to just respond immediately.
Okay.
Just to say that it's a really interesting question. This person is managing too much and sounds overwhelmed, and life can be pretty challenging. Well, life is challenging and very, very difficult for people, for everyone at some stage in life. And this is a reality that we're constantly working with. And when life is too much, we go into overwhelm and all a witch's brew of symptoms appear, of which tinnitus is one. And that's why we have therapists. That's why people have a contemplative practice. That's why people go to classes and learn how to let go. It's really what my main response to this so far is that when life is too overwhelming, and most people will know what that's like, what we can do is we can reach out and get help. And if you go and see a body-based therapist, then they will directly help your nervous system switch off and let go, which will help you strengthen and build up more muscle, emotional, mental, energetic, physical muscle to cope. And I certainly know from my own process that 15 years ago, I was very easily overwhelmed by challenges, and these days I can take on much more because I have really learnt to embody my experience and become much clearer and stronger in myself, and therapy has helped me develop that muscle, so to speak. So, you know, if your life is too much and you are in a state of overwhelm, then it's just a sad fact that our nervous systems and our bodies react to that. You know, that stress is a reality, and it can be pretty grim. But therapy and therapeutic support can really help you strengthen over a period of time, so that you can actually start managing and coping with more. And this person made reference to family problems and patterns that keep coming back again and again, and things just getting more and more. It sounds like it's sort of spiraling a little bit. Well, in psychotherapy, for example, it's really interesting how we think, God, life, these things, it keeps on happening to me. I keep on finding myself in this situation. And this is probably because in your subconscious and in the shadow, the part of you that you don't want to know and you suppress, you get a really powerful reaction that you may not be aware of, but is actually controlling your life and controlling your relationships. And in psychotherapy, it's very, very challenging but very rewarding work to get in touch with this shadow side of you and really bring it into your awareness. And so these subconscious patterns stop dominating our lives. You know, it's difficult and challenging getting in touch with this stuff, but you know, that's one of the main reasons why we go and have psychotherapy, because it helps us really uncover what's really going on behind the scenes that we don't want to admit to or face up to.
Okay. A question came up for me. For example, to get a specific negative result, anything, be it and the things that be it overwhelm or relationship difficulties or job stress. Let's just take those, or health stress. What if you say that these are things that in psychotherapy, in a sense, what exactly is dominated by the subconscious mind, and I guess my question is, what must be in there for those results to come about, for the negative results to come about? What has to be in there?
Well, it's usually patterns or parts of our personality that we can't quite accept. So, for example, if we find that we have a really big reaction to people that have lots of money, or we're very anti-gay, or we're very anti. We meet certain kinds of people and we really react to them. Quite often, it's because there's a part of us that is really resonating with that, and we can't quite accept it, and so we repress it. I mean, this shadow that I'm talking about, it can really emerge at any time. And I mean, we all have shadows, and they act like great big elephants in the room.